Time to head off to a galaxy far, far away for a bit of a space western with The Mandalorian Season 2. The 4th episode is up and I just watched it, so stick with me and I'll break it down after the intro. Well, hello there. My name's Jeremy and welcome back to Freeform Disney, where I talk about all aspects of Disney, from the animated movies to the theme parks to Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar, and the TV shows, and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Yet another episode. We are continuing our journey through Season 2 of The Mandalorian. This is Chapter 12 and it is called The Siege. Well, hey, without further time to waste, let us just jump right on in and break it down. So here is what went down. Right off the bat, we get this really fun scene with Baby Yoda trying to crosswire part of the Razor Crest with Dyn, trying to make sure he actually does it right. Yeah. Big baby Groot vibes right there too, by the way. And it is a ton of fun. And as soon as I heard Dyn say to keep the red and the blue wires apart, well, I knew where that was going to end. And of course it did. Yeah. Only too much fun with Baby Yoda right there. Oh, and hey, it's not the end of him being cute and fun, because then, well, actually not cute piece as much. Well, it is. Anyway, it's when he and Dyn are eating afterwards, as Dyn raises him a little bit up to eat, and just him watching and looking at Dyn, just melts your heart right there. It's definitely an moment. Well, anyway, off to Navarro we go, and we're just checking in quickly because we see Cara Dune because she gets an action scene, killing a whole bunch of Aqualish, and inadvertently rescuing this cute ferret-like creature. Now, the other thing this does is it tells us that the armor is no longer there on Navarro. So it looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to figure out where the Watch all went, and for him to meet up with all of his Watch buddies. And probably ask some questions about the origins of the Watch if I had to make a guess. Well, anyway. Onward we go, and Dyn's ship coming in, and oh, by the way, just seeing that ship in that state, it's like, yikes. And Greef's reaction, especially to seeing Baby Yoda again. Oh, it's so much fun. Oh, and I've got to say, I think they overplayed the whole bad guy Mimbanese alien who was sent over to work on Dyn's ship. Heck, we pulled in on him after the others were walking away, and then we have a music cue too. Yeah, it was kind of obvious what was going on right there. Well, anyway, Navarro, wow, it just is different than before. It's so much more active, colorful, lively. An impressive set of changes that have come over it since the last time that we were here in Season 1. So Greef is busy being magistrate, doing tons of clerical work. Cara's the marshal, cleaning everything up, keeping order in the town. And more things have changed. The old canteen over there, it's now actually a school with a protocol droid teaching and a bunch of kids. Really is a different planet, or rather a different day for this planet. Now, as soon as Baby Yoda is dropped off over there, I'm like, yeah, you're not going to get a lot of learning done with him in there. It really was more Baby Yoda and his bad habits surfacing again. So there's another kid, and he's got these blue macaroons, and chooses not to share them with Baby Yoda. And Baby Yoda, the food-focused kid that he is, just goes ahead and uses the Force and takes them. Cute, yes, but dang, Oh man, what a mess. Well, we're leaving Baby Yoda there for, well, pretty much most of the episode. Off to the rest of our people, and hey, we get to see Mithril again. That's our alien friend from the first episode of the show, who, by the way, is a Mithril, the species Mithril. So I guess Greef is just calling him by his species rather than his actual name, or I guess he called him by his species name? Not sure. Anyway, we also get an intriguing piece because we find out that the bounty on him back in Season 1 was probably placed by Greef himself, as Mithril had been Greef's accountant and had potentially stolen some money there from him. Yeah. Messy. Intriguing how things come full circle right here, though. Okay, and then on to the reason that this episode is called The Siege. It's time to take out an Imperial base on the other side of Navarro, which apparently only has a skeleton crew but hasn't been abandoned yet for some reason. Will we find out? Oh yes, we will. So off we go, just the three of them, well, and Mithril. Mithril's tagging around too. Not that he's going to be a ton of help, I guess he's a little technical help more than anything else. I don't think he actually ends up successfully shooting a stormtrooper anywhere in here. And hey look, there goes Dank Farrik again. That curse is becoming more and more common as Cara Dune said it this time. Well anyway, off they go into the base, they head down to a heat shaft and you go drain the cooling lines for the reactor so it'll make the whole thing go up in flames. Well, flaming lava that is. Now, as far as all the fighting in there is concerned, for what it's worth, I think they really should have taken some extra bounty hunters with them on the mission. If really just because I would have at least given the stormtroopers someone to actually shoot at and, well, hit and kill. Just one of those thoughts I have. Bring along some expendable people, that way at least there's somebody for them to kill so they don't look completely incompetent. What can you do? Well, now the base is going to be destroyed soon enough, so it's time to work our way out. But on our way out, let's find out why the base has actually been here and do some setup for the rest of the season, and perhaps more than just season 2 for that matter. So we find a couple techs who, like our Imperial Doctor Pershing from the first season, have the whole little Camino Cloners / Tarkin Initiative patch on their arm. That's the whole cloning and Force combined patch when you think about it. Well, those two get killed, but we still do get some info out of the computer before our heroes leave. First, we see some tanks with a whole bunch of experimented on people. Now, my thought looking at this is we're going Shadow Troopers, maybe? Now, Shadow Troopers being a Stormtrooper Dark Jedi hybrid from things that are no longer canon, video games right there. Although, considering what looked more like mech suits at the end, maybe the idea is more akin to Dark Troopers? Or maybe it's a combination of the two, or heck, maybe this is a separate experiment from what's going on board the ship. At any rate, pretty cool, and we're definitely going to see where this heads. And heck, it also helps confirm, a bit of suspicions from season 1, too. And also, just as a side note, I'm guessing this could tie into the sequels too with Palpatine's experiments on Exegol, although I don't think that's directly tied to what we're doing. But the same general kind of experiments here might have helped lead to what Palpatine did later on. And then one last piece there, because we get to see a communication that's, well, only 3 days old between Pershing and Moff Gideon, which makes the first time our heroes actually find out that Gideon actually survived the end of last season. So there's talk about the blood transfusions they're doing, but that the bodies are apparently rejecting the blood after a couple weeks. Pershing also refers to the child having a high M count, clearly meaning midichlorians right there. Interesting we don't just use the full word too. Oh, and one last piece, that they've apparently exhausted their supply of Baby Yoda blood. So if they want to continue the test going, we're going to need more Baby Yoda. Yeah, can't see where that's going right there. And then it is time for an action scene, and I mean action scene after action scene. So really the next 8.5 minutes of the episode is action, 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 action all the way through. Yo! And actually for like 6 minutes of it, it is purely Greef, Cara, and Mithril. Because Dyn rockets on ahead to go get to Baby Yoda and the Razor Crest. And meanwhile, the other three make their way out of the base. They get into a big repulsor craft, a Trexler Marauder. And then they have a big chase scene with speeder bikes and then TIE fighters. And then eventually at the end, Dyn pops in for the big rescue with the Razor Crest to save the day. And while that's going on, that big rescue and chasing after those TIEs, Baby Yoda still eating those macaroons. And heck seems to be enjoying the heck out of the roller coaster ride. Hands in the air and all kinds of stuff going. Well, until the end anyway. When he throws up a little. Oh, poor little guy. Oh, you can't help but love him. And now we have 2 last major pieces. Dyn and Baby Yoda leave Navarro after the ship is finished being fixed. And first off, we get to see our New Republic pilot, Captain Carson Teva, just pops up again. Now, I didn't know when he was going to pop up again. I figured he would for sure. But wow, that is a lot quicker than I expected. Apparently he's checking into things after what happened on the planet and talking to Greef off the bat. Really doesn't get anything out of him. And then he heads out and he gets to talk to Cara. And clearly he would like to recruit her back into the New Republic. And we also get talk about him seeing what's happening in the Outer Rim, but that the core worlds don't see the threat. And how desperately they need local support for the help, considering exactly that problem. And he also leaves a New Republic insignia behind for her, and a nice calling card right there. I thought Cara calling him Blue was an interesting little reference. I'm assuming that's because the New Republic insignia is blue, so just kind of a little nickname for anybody who's a New Republic officer or anything else of that nature, I'm guessing. And there was also a little teensy bit of talk about Cara being from Alderaan and who she's lost, i.e. having lost everyone. So I'm really guessing that's going to get explored in a much bigger way later on. I've been waiting for that Alderaan piece to become a bigger section. And we're still not there yet. Somewhere down the line we'll get there. Now I've got to say, I am curious where we're going with Captain Carson Teva and the New Republic out here in the long run. Definitely this is slow building up for something, and I'm not sure what exactly. I mean, heck, world building it just of itself is a good thing. But there's more to it than that, I'm sure of that. Oh, and hey, random note, we do see Cara Dune feeding that little ferret-like creature she saved earlier, which, love that as a nice little extra moment right there. And then, for the last bit of setup for the episode, we head off to Moff Gideon's ship, which is a cool-looking big ol' ship up there. And what? That mechanic we saw earlier put a tracking beacon on the Razor Crest? No way! Who saw that coming? Yeah. Oh, and a random note. We added another martial artist to the cast with that new Imperial comms officer who's being played by Katie O'Brien. Don't know if she'll get to use those martial arts or not, but you never know. And then we finally get to see Moff Gideon in the flesh for the season. Bring the gravitas to the show right there. And he is in a chamber that looks like it could have around 20 troopers. Now these look much more toward the dark troopers than the shadow troopers. So interesting. Again, back to maybe it's even two different experiments. One to create shadow troopers, one to create dark troopers. Very curious exactly what all that is, and I'm sure we'll find out more as we go. Well, anyway, that note is definitely boom, end episode right there. Now, this episode definitely had more than a few great little pieces in it. Now, while it ended up being longer than the last episode, it also felt like so little actually happened during it. And having over a sixth of the episode without either Dyn or Baby Yoda in it, while we were just watching a chase scene, funny enough was not the most compelling for me. Now, in fairness, I'm sure there are lots of people who would find it really compelling. It wasn't a bad chase sequence. It just didn't do it for me. Yeah, anyway. Lots of setup in this episode for later. We reintroduced characters, we made hints that were in season 1, now more explicit. We set up a collision course between Gideon and Dyn, even more explicitly than before. And also, heck, we also know that Bo Katan is on a similar collision course with Gideon. Interesting stuff going on. So will next episode really bring us to Corvus and Ahsoka, or will we find another excuse to stall, perhaps related to, the tracking device and Gideon getting to Dyn first? Now, with Dave Filoni having both written and directed the next episode, and no for sure obstacle between Dyn and Corvus, it would certainly look like we're probably meeting Ahsoka next week. But hey, you never know. Time will tell, right? After all, we are past the trailer now. Everything in it has been shown in the first 4 episodes. So we are into the unknown. Well, mostly, except for, say, some hints and knowing writers and directors of the episodes. So will we see Ahsoka next week? How about Rex? Maybe Sabine? Maybe Kyle Katarn, considering all the stuff from the video games in here too. Well, anyway, with that, let me ask, what about you? What did you think of this episode? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please help me out. Give it a like, a share, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another new episode of Freeform Disney. Have a magical day, and may the Force be with you. Always.